Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this March 12th version of AM Live on EOA. Your connection to Eastern Oregon, and we're on the EOA network. And here in just a little bit, we're going to have a friend of ours, a guest, Sean Halliday, join us. How are you, man?
What's up? Is today Tuesday? Yeah, it is.
Today is Tuesday. Yeah, I actually kind of rolled that around in my head this morning when I was like, what is today for sure?
Second Monday.
Yeah.
Could you imagine it being Travis Kelce? Like, you just go from. I mean, he was already a famous football player.
Right.
But now his life, like, I was looking at it, I was watching something where he ended up buying a new house.
Oh yeah.
Because the paparazzi was, I mean.
They were all, he couldn't live a normal life anymore.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. And that level of football famous is completely different than Taylor Swift famous.
Right.
Like, completely.
Right.
And I mean, he's one of the top football players there is, and he's very famous.
Right.
But then he took a
leap swept into this
this world where I wonder. I kind of worry about him.
Well, yeah. I mean, I wonder what is he doing in the off season now?
Oh, he traveled. He was in Australia watching her. Like, she's on her tour right now. But still, like, you kind of worry about people like that, because that's the kind of people that start drinking, and you know what I mean, like, to deal with stuff. It's happened with a lot of celebs, like Justin Bieber. He went through a big thing where he was just getting, doing any kind of drug he could get his hands on, because he was trying to deal with people constantly in your face.
Well, and it would be a little odd being a big star and then running around with a mega star.
Yeah, with somebody that has, like, you're rich and you're famous, but you ain't rich and famous.
Yeah,
like you ain't Taylor Swift. And all of a sudden you're the second show. You're used to being the top dog.
You fill a stadium to come watch the whole team.
Yeah.
And you're dating someone that fills multiple stadiums.
5 of those stadiums in a different country.
Right, yeah. No, yeah.
That has 100 times as much money as you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That makes as much for a show that you make in a season.
Yeah. No, I can imagine that would be like a head turner. I mean,
it's got to be weird. I guess it's good that it's him, because I mean, he's pretty down to earth, and he's got a good support system. So hopefully he ends up all right. Hopefully he doesn't. Yeah,
his brother's going away. I mean, his going away speech was very moving. Yeah.
Yeah, he talked about his quarterbacks.
Did he?
He's the first person that's ever done it. He was talking about and they've talked about it on the podcast. Yeah. Like, they were talking about after they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And he talked about his quarterback's genitalia during his retirement speech.
Yeah, I didn't catch that part.
Yeah, you should rewatch it. It's funny.
Yeah.
And then during the podcast, they're like, I wonder if Travis says to Jason, I wonder if anybody else will ever talk about their quarterback's genitalia in their retirement speech. This is one of a kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did. I mean, they're in the same position, but it reminded me of the interview that you and Johnny did with, the center who hiked to.
Gosh, what was
John,
his name? Was it John?
Yeah, I think that was his first name.
Yeah, he was the Rams center in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Yeah.
Last name, I can't think of it. It starts with an S.
Anyhow, yeah.
Yeah, anyways, I remember him.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but Jason Kelce's a whole different level of center.
Absolutely.
I mean, Jason Kelce's like, and part of it's just Jason Kelce's personality. Like, he's just
but I think
larger than life.
What I know, but centers have a certain personality.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this. Not unlike a catcher in baseball. Yeah.
They're almost always the smartest dude on the field, too.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think it, like, you wouldn't look and be like, oh, look at this big old dude.
Right.
But they're always super smart.
Yeah.
It's just part of what you have to do. You got to know everybody else's job.
Yeah.
Because you're the field commander outside the court. Like,
right.
You got the quarterback who's in charge of all the skilled players, and then the center who's in charge of the linemen and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool position. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a tough position to play. You got to be athletic. You got to be fast. You got to be strong, obviously, and you got to be smart.
Yeah.
That's a tough combination to get. That's why those guys get paid good money. And then none of them. The crazy thing is there's not a center in the league that's a long snapper too.
Oh, really? They have just separate.
Yep. There's not one guy that doubles up.
Huh.
The long snappers are all. Most of the time, long snappers are really tall. They're long so they can get that.
Yeah.
And centers are usually fairly short. Kind of squatty guys.
See, that'd be a weird position in the NFL.
It's the best position.
Right, but I mean, it's like you do one thing and you've got to do it well.
Yeah. And you don't ever get hit.
Right.
You're not allowed to hit the long snapper.
Oh, you're not?
No, when you're lined up and you snap the ball, nobody can hit you. You're in a position where they could kill you, essentially. So, you might get some hits in practice and maybe you might have to make a block every once in a while, but those guys make, 500 to, some of them make a couple million a year to snap 6 times a game and hang out and have front row seats to 17 football games a year. It's like being the 12th man in basketball. Yeah. You don't ever see the court, but you get the perks of being an NBA player.
Right.
And you get to watch 82 games a year right there on the court. That would be the best job on the planet.
Yeah.
It really would.
Interesting. Well, hey, do you want to do sports?
Let's do it.
All right.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Rock & Sons Tire and Auto. They're hiring. Rock & Sons is looking for an entry-level mechanic technician. Send your resume to Rock & Sons, ROCKN, sons1@gmail.com, or apply in person at 2304 Adams Avenue. If you have any questions, you can give JB a call, 541-963-2757. Rock & Sons Tire and Auto. Go see JB and the boys. Congratulations to LeGrand senior hooper Caden Barrett on his selection to the GOL All-Conference team. That's one of the few bright spots for LHS basketball this year was he had a really good year. He played really well. He was by far the Tigers' best player. EOU women's wrestling wrapped up their season at Nationals. This past Saturday, Liv Weber was the lone Mountie placer. She finished 5th and brought back her 2nd All-American trophy in a row, which is pretty cool. Anytime you're All-American, it means you're one of the top 8 in the whole country at whatever you do. That's pretty awesome. EOU women's hoops got an at-large bid into the national tournament after going 21-7 this year, finishing 4th in a really tough CCC. EOU was picked to win this conference. They ended up finishing 4th. 21-7 should get you into the national tournament every year. But they were kind of hesitant about whether they were going to get in or not. They'll head to Great Falls, Montana to take on University of Providence on the 15th at 5 o'clock. EOU men's baseball got 1 out of 3 from Whitworth on the road this weekend. It was non-league games. And then EOU softball ran their record to 13-3 overall and 5-1 in the CCC. They went to Salem. They only gave up 2 runs in 4 games over the weekend. Caitlin Evans hit .750 for the Mounties with 9 RBIs over the weekend and was awarded CCC Athlete of the Week. And then senior Kaylee Hoskins did it again. This is her 3rd one in a row. She threw a no-hitter in Game 1 and a 1-hitter in Game 3. And she ended up throwing 12 innings of shutout softball, struck out 20, which, she's the all-time EOU leader in strikeouts. She broke the single-season record last year. She's a 2nd-team All-American, should have been 1st-team All-American, and there's no doubt that this year she's going to do the exact same thing. She's going to end up being the all-time leader at pretty much everything pitching-wise at EOU in only 2 years, which is crazy.
That's great.
She came as a transfer, and she had something like 340 strikeouts last year, which is, it blew the old record out by over 100 strikeouts. It wasn't even close. So, AM Sports Report. Oh, wait, I'm not done yet. I got one more thing. I got a video for everybody.
Do.
I'm pretty excited about this one. Even though they're LeGrand's rival and everything, I got to give props to the Baker Bulldogs and and head coach Jabron Jones then won the OSAA 4A state championship in basketball on Saturday in Forest Grove. I sat down with Jabron. He's not only one of my friends, he's their head coach. Here it is. What was the first thing you guys did as a team after winning the state championship?
We a lot of tears were shed.
Yeah.
A lot of emotions, finally came out. We went to dinner at a place called Primetime Rib in Forest Grove, Cornelius. We had a great team dinner. A lot of parents, fans came out and supported us, had dinner with us. We had a business here in town, RD Mac, help with the bill, which is extremely appreciated. So we had a great celebration. The boys stayed up who knows how long. I was in bed as soon as we got back to the house. But we got on a bus ride home Sunday, and we had a great ceremony. A lot of cars supporting us along the route from the freeway back to the school in the rain. And so we got a great group of people show up to the high school to, help us off the bus. And it was just a cool environment overall, man.
When I was watching the state championship game, I was thinking to myself, man, the Baker fans are loud. I'm surprised there's that many people there. And then I was like, no, actually, I'm not really surprised that there's that many people that made the trip over there to follow this team because of what you created there in Baker.
No, the fan support has been tremendous, man. There was, I know for a fact, I'm not going to say their name, but as soon as we lost last year, a couple of days after we lost last year at the state tournament, they booked the house for this upcoming year, which just happened this last weekend. So people came out in droves. People came over just for the Saturday game. Some families stayed all 3 days to watch all 3 games. And just looking in the stands, after the game, just seeing the amount of support the kids had, that we had, and people coming up to the kids, giving them hugs after the game. And I told the kids, you guys are blessed to be in a supportive community. That's Baker head basketball coach Jabron Jones, and he's on the sports show today at 5:30. AM Sports Report brought to you by Rockin' Sons Tire and Auto. Go see JB and the boys.
Fun win for them.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to see. I mean, the last 2 years before this, they've been 2-0 in the state playoffs, and the expectations were high for this team. I mean, they're very talented. They have really good group of kids, and it's just going to carry over into next year. I mean, Jabron's kids were both on this team. They're going to lose 5 seniors, but they bring back both of his kids and a really good nucleus of solid players for next year.
Yeah, good. Great job. Good job, Baker High School. That's fun.
Yeah, it's cool. It is good for them. The crazy thing is, one of the questions I asked him was, like, how do you prepare for a state tournament when you blew everybody out all year?
Right.
Because that's got to be hard.
Yeah.
And, they did lose 1 game to Cascade, but it was on the back end of a 3-day road trip. Mm-hmm. No high school teams play 3 different teams in 3 different places on 3 different days, back to back to back. It just doesn't happen. Baker did that, including they played the 3A state champ in Cascade Christian the night before.
Yeah.
They lost to Cascade. And they lost by 8, and it was like the perfect loss at the perfect time for them because it kind of motivated them, and they could refocus. It was right toward getting towards the 3-quarter mark of the season, and then they just went into the state playoffs, and they beat Cascade by 20 in the semifinals, the team they lost to.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's great.
They were legit.
Good deal. All right, well, let's take a look at the weather. I'll look outside anyhow.
Oh, it started raining?
Yeah, it looks like it.
It wasn't raining this morning.
Yeah.
No way.
Did you walk this morning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate the rain.
Yeah. And then let's look at the graphic, Benny, here. So 48, 30, and we have, looks like maybe the next few days.
We're getting up to 65 on Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Hey, it's EOU softball this weekend too, so here.
So they'll be home.
Yeah, they're home this weekend against UBC. I'll talk about it on Thursday, but that's exciting because I get to be outside on the weekend. It's going to be nice.
Yeah. Very good.
I'll tell you, the walk to work, BC, is one of the most peaceful things in the morning. Like this early morning walk.
Yeah.
I love it. It's like, like 6:15 usually I leave, or maybe a little after. And there's really, the only people I ever see is Ryan Chachis sometimes, city workers, and sometimes like the girls that go to the little place down here on Adams to work out. What's that place called?
Peak?
Yeah, Peak. Yeah, like Ryan's wife.
Yeah,
And it's just peaceful. There's nobody out. I don't have to bother with hardly any cars. Usually I cross Adams at a diagonal because there's nobody, you know what I mean?
There's no traffic or anything. Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's very nice. It's peaceful.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I don't know how you are, but when I'm doing an activity like that, kind of on automatic, my mind just kind of, I don't know, it's very freeing. My mind is thinking about, I mean, it just kind of roams and thinks about the things that maybe
and it's good for me too. I mean, walking, I need to walk more.
Yeah.
I try to walk every day, but it's not always possible. I go walk the dog for my parents and just I try to make excuses to walk, because then if I just say, I should go for a walk, I'm probably not going to just go for a walk. But if I say,
if you have something to do,
I should do this and go for a walk, then I'll probably do it.
All right. Well, hey, here in a minute, we're going to have Sean Halliday with us, join us here on the set. Sean is a good friend of ours. He has worked Shrine for us a couple of different times. Super tech guy who is a video engineer-ish guy. I don't know if you could, anyhow, I'll let him define it. Anyhow, he just got back. He works the Oscars every year, and he just got back from that. And so we'll talk shop and have some pictures for us, and we'll be back right after this.
Eastern Oregon is full of interesting people, with interesting minds and interesting things to say. Here at EO Live, we're committed to connecting you to these intriguing people with EO Talks. We let our special guests share their ideas and life experiences with deep, open, engaging, and inquisitive conversations. You'll also be informed in depth on some of the most recent and relevant events, issues, and more. EO Talks on EO Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon, now on Roku. Here in Eastern Oregon, we're blessed to live in such a wonderful area, and though it may seem mild-mannered, there's actually quite a lot that goes on in this area. And apparently, there's two dinguses who happen to be here that are actually crazy enough to get up at the crack of dawn to talk about it. Tune into AM Live on EOA with Brent and Dodsey, featuring special guests, weather, sports, news, and more, every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 a.m., only on EOA Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon, now on Roku.
All right, we're back with Sean Halliday, TV broadcast engineer.
Sounds weird.
Yeah. How are you, man?
I've been good. Wait, where do I look? Do I look at
you just look at us as we're talking. Yeah,
just a normal chit chat.
Yeah.
Don't ask beforehand.
I love the banter though. It's, it's great. Things have been good. I've been traveling quite a bit, so it's good to be back home. And
yeah. So I guess let's go back to you and I. Al Adelsberger introduced us,
right.
And because you'd done some work for Al, some of his facilities down in California.
In LA, right.
Yeah.
That's where Al and I have known each other for 20 plus years, probably 25 years now. But we met in LA and he moved up here and really loved it. And for years just kept saying, it's God's country, you got to come up here. You got to.
Yeah, Al's a good salesman from that standpoint.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So he invited me to come up to do some of the screens and other things for some of the stuff up here, and it was peaceful, and my wife and I were already looking to get out of LA, and like many people, and this was about 5 years ago, and it was just beautiful. We really loved the community, and hauled the whole family up here.
Yeah. So I guess let's start at the Oscars, because that's kind of unique. I mean,
It is unique, yeah.
yeah, it is unique.
It's true.
So like for a video engineer, that seems like kind of a cherry job.
Yeah, it's a nice job. It's not my normal day job. My normal day job is systems design, and I do a lot of CAD work and a lot of, and then I go to facilities and install things, make sure things work, cameras work, things like that. Boring stuff. But when I was in LA, I did a lot of the award shows. Award season is like LA's, winter season. So there's too many award shows. It's ridiculous. How many times do people give themselves another award? But nonetheless, obviously, Oscars is the big show. It culminates to the Oscars, and Oscars is the only one that I kept. And I traveled back down to LA to do Emmys. All the other ones I dropped, mainly for the reason that Oscars is unique. That AMPAS, which is the organization that does the show, AMPAS is they hire you for life. You get the position, and it's yours for life. So
Oh, wow.
you either have to retire or die to get out of the job. So it makes
Or
it very
really mess
hard
up?
to get the job. I guess so. We don't mess up. We're top tier. So should knock on something.
Yeah.
But so it's a reunion. We all know the job very well. Each of us. I happen to work in the international transmission, so there's a lot of other countries that are interested in the show. Japan, Italy, Germany, Greece. They like the pomp and circumstances of the Hollywood shows, and so our job is to take that show that we here get domestically through ABC. We kind of create our own show and send it internationally, and they send their own people. France had their own. They created their own set, probably this size of a set, and they'll talk about the show too. Most often it's when their country has a movie in the play. It's up for an award. And
So are they taking that transmission and maybe talking during the commercials or doing okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So red carpet before the show, red carpet. Everyone loves to do the red carpet. I've got pictures of. Let's see. This is
Show us some pictures.
some red carpet stuff. This year they went back to red. Last year was white. I don't know what genius decided.
Who changes those colors? Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're known for the red carpet, and then to go, and it rains every year. LA does not get a lot of rain, except for this year they get a lot of rain. But it's weird. Every year during the week that we're preparing, it will rain at least 1 or 2 days. It's very bizarre. So yeah, you get a lot of rain and white carpet. You do the math.
Dirt.
It's
Becomes muddy,
kind of
right?
stupid.
Yeah.
So this year they went back to red. I brought some every year. I get some of this. Sadly they throw it away every year. They put out all this red carpet, and there's a lot of red carpet, and it goes on for a mile. It's huge, and they just
dispose of it afterwards.
throw it away.
Huh.
So I always cut a piece.
You
give it to people.
like a little souvenir piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is actually it's not very glamorous, honestly. This is my view. I sit and watch it on TV like everybody else, but this is all the wiring that comes in to make sure that it goes out to all those different countries. And
that would make me anxious
I know.
there. So anxious. All those wires, man.
That is kind of a thing, is that we once we set up, and it takes a week to set up. This is interesting. It takes about a week to set up. I get there on Tuesday morning, and there's these trailers that are set up. They're empty, and we have to create this entire village of all this wire. And when the show is done, it takes about 2.5 hours to return it back to its native state of emptiness. So it takes a long time to set up, and it's our saying is it's all about the strike. Getting out of there is important. We're all tired by that.
Yeah.
time,
So, but do you have to wrap up the wires and everything, or do you just unplug everything?
I'm an unplugged guy. Yeah, there's other people that wrap. Although I do my share, I'll help out and wrap too. But most of the time, I'm the coordinator to just make sure everything gets wrapped out correctly.
Power it down, unplug it.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So, let's see. What else do we have here? I always take one obligatory picture of me on the carpet.
You kind of look like that dude a little bit.
Do I?
Well, yeah, you have that. The same profile a little bit.
This is the production truck. Inside the production truck, the International has their own. They cut their own show. We produce our own show for the international market. For example, a couple years ago with the infamous Will Smith slap.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
God.
Yeah, we got the unedited version of that. All language went to the international market. So people had often asked me.
He dropped the F-bomb, right?
He did.
He did.
Yeah, several. Yeah.
Yeah.
International market can get all that, I guess. In the
So
States,
so the domestic market is on a delay.
it has a delay, and
Like-
that got used many times.
How
that
many?
night, yeah.
How?
It's a
how-
10-second delay.
Okay, so then somebody's listening, like
Yeah.
they push the mute button or
Actually,
whatever.
it might be 7 seconds, but nonetheless, it's a short amount of time. And there's somebody there, just in charge of hitting that button.
You got one job.
That's it. They got one job exactly to hit the button.
If Robert Downey
how would
Jr.
you-
is on stage, you get ready.
Yeah, but how would you do that? I mean, so you're listening to it live, and
Yes.
you know that 7 seconds later
It dumps. Yes.
it's coming, and so then you're listening to the thing that's coming, and
Yeah.
and you just heard the sentence, so you
It
know
does.
where to mute it.
It catches up basically too. So the delay is 7 full seconds. When you hit the button, it dumps what's in that cache or what's in that bin, and just jumps directly to that. Now, what happens now if someone says something here? Yeah, you do run out of time.
Yeah, it gets
and you
sticky.
hope it does build up over time.
Yeah.
It slightly delays it more and more,
Yeah,
and
so
but it takes a little bit of time.
So
for
if somebody said a 10-second string of
Yeah.
profanities,
yeah, like any music song today on the radio. Yeah.
it's going to go out.
It's going to go out. Eventually it will. They'll usually cut to a break at that point, which they did. With the Will Smith thing, they certainly they went to a break pretty quickly. Right
So
after
then, when you're cutting are you in the international truck? Are you guys cutting cameras and everything? You're
Yes.
cutting your own show there.
that. Yeah, they'll often just take the master feed. So whatever's being set for domestic, they'll just let it ride and do that. But they do have all the cameras individually and can switch around differently as well.
Okay.
Well, that's crazy. That's got to be a mess of wires. Just
Oh.
oh gosh.
It's pretty intense, the amount of wires, because we actually exist. There's the Dolby Theater where the event is. We're across the street, behind the El Capitan Theater. We're in a big parking lot, so we have to walk quite a ways.
And those wires go all the way.
all the way.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like just the recipe for disaster.
It is tons. I didn't get pictures of that, but there's so many wires. It's
So how do they get the wires across the street? Do they go over?
well, the whole street gets shut down. So where the red carpet is, this
Okay.
part, about where the white wall is where the sidewalk ends. And
Okay.
everything red is basically in the street.
Oh, I see.
So they have a platform that matches so that it is the same height as where the sidewalk ends and
Right.
it goes down to the street. So that's all platform.
And the wires go underneath,
And they'll go underneath, they'll go, yes.
just wherever.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
So that's how they get it there. And then they have, in the parking lot, even they've got these big metal structures where wires will go up
Yeah.
and around. It's pretty,
Yeah.
it's a village.
So this red carpet area is all covered.
Yeah, because it rains every year. This is actually on the street. If the top ceiling of fabric were not there, you'd just see the sky. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but there's some kind of a rain structure.
There is. It's a plastic shield. Yeah.
Okay.
First.
Yeah. Because did it used to be open? I mean, it used to be just.
Yeah. Yeah, for years they did. They used to have an audience area where you could go. There's a raffle. You can get to stand there and yell at your famous whatever. And then that used to be quite the thing. And then they rotated the show. Before it was at the Dolby, what was the Kodak. It switched between the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion and the Shrine Auditorium, and they kind of went back and forth every year. Yeah. Both of those venues are old and frankly not very fun to work. Yeah. The Dolby Theater is a lot more. It was built for it. The Kodak Theater. It was built for it. So
there's not any public though that stands on the red carpet.
There is a small little section. Just if you could, I didn't send it to you. I do have another picture where it's just a small little area, and I have no idea who gets to be there. It only holds like 20 people. Right. I don't know how you get those seats. That's got to be something. Yeah. Yeah. But this area is really mostly for press. All the different throughout the world. All the people are there to take pictures of what people are wearing, as if that really matters. But
that's the most important thing about the Oscars.
It's important to some people.
All over. That's all they talk about on social media.
That's right. Oh, what are you
dress
wearing?
Billie Eilish had on.
Yeah. No, it's a thing. I mean, we as people, we like to put other people up on a pedestal, whether that be sports or, in this case, entertainment. It just seems to be built into us. We like to, royalty or wherever. LA is really our society's royalty for many people. A lot of people, there's many that don't care at all. But
I wonder why that is. Why
is it that we like that?
Why do we like to elevate folks?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like leadership, or not that they're leaders, but we like to look up to people.
Probably because it happens in every aspect of our life. Like if you look at, even biblically, it happens. You know what I mean? Like you look at the people that you look up to in life are always a step above,
elevated, and we don't have a king in this country, although you might think so with certain presidencies. But we like to just elevate people to a status of I don't know why that is.
Well, maybe it's entertaining. Maybe it's because it's not our lives.
Sure.
Right. I
mean, glamorous. This is what I could be. This
right.
Is what
it's like,
maybe.
Well, yeah. This isn't. We're not entertained by. Cowboys are not entertained by other cowboys, but
Sure.
So maybe it's just because it's outside of our own lives.
Yeah. We're interested in that, but.
Yeah.
I like it. Anyway. It's a fun show to work.
Yeah. Did we get through your pictures?
It's a week long of.
Yeah.
Well, I only brought this one because this is what people don't see. So this is right outside. The red carpet is actually right at the end of this. You can kind of see it. And this is where the limos pick up the people. I've got one more picture on the other side of it. It's incredibly protected. I wanted to go across the street to Mel's, the diner there, on that day, and you can't. I had to go a mile down and walk over a mile up.
Really? Wow! Because this whole fenced area
is completely barricaded.
Yeah.
And then you can't quite see it, but they even have one of those. When you rent a car, they'll have those protective spiky thingies.
Yeah.
That's what this is, and it's a thing where somebody can hit a button and it would just jump up and pop the car. They've got 2 of these, so the limos have to go through 2 stages of this. And then they drop off whoever's in their car, and then they go back around the block, and then pick up more people, and then.
Oh, I see.
So they reuse the same cars.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
So they don't each get their custom limo.
Some do.
Yeah.
Some do.
Well,
but
I'm sure some people do.
Yeah. Some definitely get it directly from, or they'll go pick up other people or whatever. It's not like they're just waiting on the sidewalk, but they you wait here. You're fine.
Yeah, here. This is the hopper. You guys are B-less actors.
Yeah. So it does, anyway, it protects, and it's this whole area, for several blocks. The day of, the security is incredibly tight. Not only do we have credentials, but then we have to have a parking placard to go anywhere near there. And then the day before, we get a special placard. And then the whole perimeter at night is swept by dogs to sniff for anything. Blocks this is done, and then we have to come drive in a certain way and checkpoints, and it's pretty intense.
So where do the civilians park? Where do you park? You know, I mean.
So we park in the Dolby Theater garage. It's called Ovation now, but there's a big parking garage there. That's
okay.
Four tiers underneath base level, and we park there. But it's completely cleared out the night before, swept, and then one by one, then they let us in.
Yeah.
And they scan our badge, they look at our picture, make sure that it's us. You know, it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
They want to make sure it's very secure.
So how did you? Let's back up just a little bit. So tell me how you got started in this whole industry. Yeah.
I've just always loved behind the scenes. Some people really, you know, in college, I took classes and even acting classes. But see, even in the acting class, I would be on stage, and then in the middle of the scene, I'm like, you know, if you move the light, it'll look better.
I can see you doing that.
And some people are meant to be. I like to make other people look good. That's always kind of been my. I don't want to be in the spotlight. I like, you know, when things go well and something that's, you know, people are watching this show or anything else. If it's a good experience for them and you work hard to make it look good, I really love that. So I started continuing to do all the behind the scenes stuff for lots of TV shows. As a kid living in LA, I loved game shows. I think I missed my mark. I love game shows. I don't know why. Just love game shows. I would go at 16, right when I got my driver's license. NBC and all these different studios, they would give you free tickets to these game shows, and I would get the tickets and I would go and just watch how something is done. And it's not just television. I like anything of how something is done. I like the behind the scenes of anything. So just television just happened to be one of those that I gravitated to. And now, you know, design. I was in New York for the past 6 months doing stuff for Google, and it's just a fascinating business. I like the behind the scenes of anything.
So what are some of the shows that you worked on that you got paid for as you have kind of come through the years?
Oh boy. Well, all the award shows, you name it, the award shows I've certainly done. I did a lot of sports, actually. I did a lot of, there's the big production trucks, which I could have sent a picture, I didn't. The big production trucks are a lot of there's an EIC job, it's called engineer in charge, and you're in charge of the truck. And just got to make sure everything works. And then people come to work every one of those positions, but if something goes wrong, you've got to be able to figure out what happened, why it doesn't.
Right.
So I did a lot of trucks, a lot of sports, Super Bowl. I seem to be, there's just so much sports content that has to be televised. There's just a lot of people that it takes to make it so you can watch that game.
Oh, yeah.
And some sports are easier than others. Baseball or basketball is pretty easy. There's not many cameras in basketball. You follow the ball. Not too super challenging there. Football's challenging. Golf is challenging. I did the Blue Angels, not sports, but there is a sports connection. I had to hire the camera people to do the Blue Angels. So Blue Angels are the division of the Air Force that, you know, there's 7 planes that go, and there's lots of air shows that have these Blue Angels in it, and they have their own show. But jets are pretty fast.
I was going to say, yeah. How do you even capture?
They're very hard to capture, and so
yeah.
I had to we found the best people to be able to get the shot of the jet going by were the same people that could follow a golf ball.
Oh,
so
interesting.
You'd hire people that did the golf. Those are the people that you want to do the Blue Angels. So
That's a small ball moving real fast.
yeah, Yeah, no, it's a real talent to be a good camera person, camera operator. So.
Well, and it's funny because so during COVID,
Yeah.
the governor of Oregon sent one of the planes, or one of the National Guard,
Okay.
fighters planes over. Like, they did a flyby. There was a couple of them, and they flew out to Wallowa County, and then they flew, and so everybody gathered on the roof of the hospital,
Sure.
and we were all
Get a
noted.
picture.
Yeah, and I got the camera, and it's like, okay, I'm going to catch this,
Yeah.
and I mean, it flew by, and it's like, but the whole time I'm going like.
Yeah.
Like,
where is it?
Yeah, where is it? Yeah, I mean, I totally missed it.
It's hard.
Yeah, because it's
hard,
like, it's incredibly. I mean, you get a wide shot and crop in.
That's
later.
easy, but
Yeah.
but to get a zoomed image of something that looks interesting on TV, no, it takes skill, like anything. It's a skill. So, yeah, I've done a lot of behind the scenes TV shows. I can't even think of that. You put me on the spot on what shows. I'm like, I don't know, quite a few.
So you now work for, and I know this because you and I have spent a lot of time talking back and forth and stuff. You work for a company who designs and installs, and depending on the contract, hopefully maintains.
Yeah.
Those studio spaces or tech spaces.
Exactly.
It's way bigger than studio. It's like.
It is. It's anything technical.
I mean, you just got done doing the Pac-12.
Pac-12's new facility, bless their heart, Pac-12.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, while they were still
Groups.
Pac-12 and now whatever they are now.
Who'd
Yeah.
they sell that to?
I don't know. It's so sad because, the facility we built them was just so beautiful. It's a brand new facility, $10 million facility that just is the envy of anybody. And then while we're there, we're starting to get the news of, wait, okay, keep in mind, there's people here, this is their livelihood. And
Right, yeah.
they were great people. And we're like, Pac-12, okay, now it's Pac-9, now it's Pac-7, now it's
Pac-2.
Pack your bags. That's, yeah.
And where are they now? I haven't kept
There's
track.
no there's one more year and then
That's it.
it's gone.
Somebody's going to take that facility, though, because it's just a...
Yeah, there will be no more Pac-12.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. One of the cameras guys for doing ABC's camera up above the Academy Awards, he was wearing a Pac-12 hat. And I had to, I was like,
Give him a little jab.
I'm sorry. No, no.
I think there's only two
kinda
teams
commiserated
that aren't in another conference as of now.
right now.
Washington State and Oregon State, I think, is
Yeah.
the last two, right?
Yep.
There's two.
It was the original. Those were the ones that were the original part of Pac-12. So anyway, so Pac-12, that was a facility we did in Northern California. And, it takes months to, it takes years to plan. You get all the equipment, you get it all in. COVID had a big challenge with that, is getting equipment. Some of the pieces of gear are just very hard. Still, to this day, there's one piece of gear. You don't have one. I saw something on the floor that I thought was one. I was going to steal it. No, I'm kidding. But they're really hard to find, and everyone, it does this one particular thing. It's called a decimator, if you've seen them.
Yeah.
Anyway, and this last Google project I did, they had 60 of them.
Wow.
Boxes just all lined up. It was like gold. It was like what you could do with
Everybody
these.
signs those out.
Yes, they did. They immediately numbered them all so that they wouldn't walk away because they just happen to do this one little quirky thing that other gear doesn't do, and they just can't make them fast enough because parts are not available because of the whole, still a backlog from COVID days. So, yeah, it's challenging.
So, and you did a facility for Spotify.
Spotify's new facility in LA.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
And
that
then,
was beautiful.
And then a couple of one in a Google facility in
Lots
Seattle.
of Google stuff.
I
Yeah.
can't remember where you've been. Yeah.
I don't know if we're supposed to talk about it, but yeah.
Oh, anyhow.
Google's
so
very
different,
particular about who they're.
But here's I mean, why would Google or Spotify
Right.
or why would they have
Yeah.
studios? What's behind that?
Well, Google in particular uses studios to not only internally to promote their own things, but also to do their national, presentations.
Yeah.
Apple does it. And,
Right.
So, and they take their facilities very seriously. They're beautiful facilities. They want their employees to have the best. And so this building happened to be a new, well, it's an old building, but they turned it into this 12-story building, and it's amazing. I mean, there's lots of restaurants in it where free food for all their employees, and their workspace is even quite different. They kind of have this new attitude of, they have neighborhoods. So you don't have you don't have a desk. You just take your tablet, Google tablet, of course, and you take your tablet and you just have, you know, maybe a small team of 3 and 4 people, and you'd go to a neighborhood and work in a very nice little posh area, and you'd work together, and then you'd go have coffee in their little coffee place, and then you'd go to meet. It's a whole different thing.
Yeah, where do you put your crap though? Where do you put your stuff? You know what I mean? The stuff you have on your desk.
Backpack. That's
Your backpack.
Yeah.
They probably got gym in there. They probably got you know.
In the one that I up in in Washington, they had a doggy daycare.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
At all.
So you bring your dog, and they have this big area, and the dogs got along, and you know.
Yeah.
It's a thing. So to answer your question, they spend a lot of money on equipment, and so even though they're not a broadcaster per se, a lot of their equipment is the same exact gear that we'll use in broadcast television. So since we have that experience of building broadcast facilities, they come to us and say, build us one of those. And it's
so you and I mean, here's a question. You and I have spent a lot of, I don't know that we've ever talked about this directly, but it's where our worlds are.
Sure.
Is this collision of streaming, this thing we're doing right now,
Sure.
and broadcast.
Yeah.
And so you've been on the equipment end of that, and you've seen the streaming just kind of rise and.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Where do you think? And so now everybody has 5 or 10 different apps that they watch their particular shows on.
Sure.
Where do you think this is all going? I mean, where do you 5 years from now, what's that going to look like?
Well, I mean, if history's any record, they'll consolidate at some point, and it'll be. We jumped out of our cable bill that we were paying so much for, all just to get right back into the fire. And I think I spend more now on
services,
on all the different services, but. Yeah, they're consolidating. Even within now Disney is consolidated with Hulu and ESPN. Now you just buy it as a package, and then at some point, when Apple buys them, I don't know. I have no inside history.
I don't think Apple's going to buy Disney, dude. I don't think Apple's going to.
I don't know. There's discussion, but yeah, I think it'll just keep on consolidating, and we'll just end up paying more money. I don't know, but. That market, the streaming market, the church evangelical market's just huge. The amount of money that is spent on facilities rivals, a lot of broadcasts. So there's people. All they do is establish teams of people that just stream on Twitch and online all day long. Aiden Ross is one of them. He's got a team of people. He's got like 50 people that he pays. He pays their rent, puts them up. They make $20,000 a month, and all they do is sit there and stream. And he supplies their games, just sitting there talking, BSing, and it's just a whole building full of all these teenage, early 20s people doing different content live all the time. And this guy's making millions and millions of dollars driving Ferraris, Lamborghinis off of this. And so are the people that are doing it.
How do they make money? Are they mentioning sponsors? How are they making money at that?
Sponsors, merchandise,
well, it's based on eyeballs. However many people are watching.
Yeah, it's all ads, but then they also tie in you can gift. So like all these services. If Sean's streaming, I can buy little widgets or whatever online, and then I can send them to him, and they have monetary value. It's kind of like the stars on Facebook. Yeah. So like people. They're bored. They got money. They got a credit card. They're watching Yahoo stream a video game.
While he's on the air, he's notified of the gift, and he can shout that person out.
Absolutely. Yep. Wow. It's crazy how much these kids are making. Some of these guys are making. I was watching. There's one dude that streams and he makes like $700,000 a month. $700,000 a month to sit there for like 3 or 4 hours a day and just talk smack.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Where's my 700,000? That's what I want.
So
that's a crazy life.
Well, one thing that I found I love about you is that you even though you work with cameras that are probably worth more than all of the equipment.
My house.
All of the equipment in this entire place,
Right.
Hey, but you are incredibly down to earth. I mean, I appreciate you still understand analog. You still understand. I mean, you are a nerd to the core. There's no part of you that is snobby. I have really appreciated that.
A geek, I think, as I prefer.
A geek.
No,
yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm totally
no,
kidding.
but you're. It's one of the reasons we get along so well.
Yeah.
Okay, so last week he called somebody old. This week he called somebody a nerd. What's next?
Well, you see, it's
a badge of honor.
Well,
even old is seasoned.
And you understand,
it's
kind of like using the N word. Black people can use the N word.
Nerds can say.
Yeah,
nerds,
if
yes.
I'm a nerd, I can call somebody, or if I'm old, so it's like, I own that space. I'm in that space. Anyhow.
Okay.
So let's see, where was I going with this? But I mean.
Oh well, thank you.
But you're really down to earth. I mean, just like, so that is just super fun because, and the topics when we have a conversation are like
wide ranging.
I mean, they might start with tech, but pretty soon they're like, it'll
end
everywhere.
up in a discussion about ice cream at some point.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Right. Which this is fun. Let's go there. And so yeah, ice cream.
Yeah.
So you have an incredible, intense interest in not just eating ice cream, but you want to create ice cream.
I think it's time for another a big market ice cream that is actually good. I think there's a lot of the mass market ice creams have been bought by these big conglomerates, and they're just not good anymore, or as good as they could be. And so,
well, and what's funny is that I was ice cream ignorant until you started bringing me samples. Okay, and then when you brought me samples, like, oh, wait a minute,
this is good.
Yeah,
I know. There's I gave several people some ice cream, and I'll be walking down the street, and they'll drive by, and I'll hear, "You ruined me on ice cream." It's like driving by. It's kind of, once you kind of have that top tier ice cream, it's a different experience, and then anything else you have, you're like, oh, but this isn't very good. You thought it was good, but it's not as good.
But as I know, creating something is not always profitable. And so then your real life and your having to
you
make
have your
money.
passion, and that's my ice creams has been my passion for a decade, and really working on the actual molecular level. I went to scoop school in St. Louis, and I take my ice cream very seriously, and any ice cream anywhere, I gotta I'll have it. When I was in New York, scoured New York. New York doesn't have a lot of good ice cream. They're really into gelato, which is not ice cream. Good, but it's not ice cream.
Not ice cream.
But there's only a handful of places that were even decent. But finding great ice cream is a passion. It's weird.
No, but part of it is ice cream. See, I'm still the volume dude. It's like
the more is less. I mean, you want the big bucket.
Right.
That weighs half an ounce.
So to pay $5 for a scoop of ice cream is like,
I know
it could be really good, but
no, there definitely is that. There's that in any part of life. There's the high end, and some people really appreciate that, whether it be a fine restaurant or whatever.
Right, yeah.
And then there's Taco Bell, like $1.50. Actually, Taco Bell's not cheap anymore.
No, it's not.
But nonetheless, it used to be. And you'd go, and the quantity over quality, that's always been a factor, though.
Yeah.
But once you have good quality, hopefully you'd appreciate. It costs more to make said quality.
But a bigger bowl of good quality ice cream would be like perfect.
I think so. Yeah. that's the idea.
Yeah, but that's going to cost more money.
It does cost more.
Yeah. It
costs more. It's more dense. It's more, one of the tricks with ice cream is that they'll just fill it more with air. And there's a limit to it for the government has this legal regulation that says it can't be more than half air.
Oh, interesting.
So after that, it can't be called ice cream. In fact, I saw over at Safeway, I saw Blue Bunny has a new thing called Light or something, and it's not called ice cream. If you look at it, it's just, that's the name of it, and then it says it's a frozen dessert because it actually is soft. It's called soft.
Okay.
It's just,
but
just
it
means
but
they
it's
added
ice
more
cream
air.
with
That's
more
all.
air.
You're paying for less ice cream.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I'm a big. I like it to be dense and just velvety on the tongue. So
Yeah.
that's my favorite. Not fluff.
It's kind of like it's kind of like when Hershey's came out with the crackle bars.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just this chocolate with air bubbles
With
in
Rice Krispies.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there is the air one too.
Yeah, or Rice Krispies are
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
thing too. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So, but it's like, so they're using, they're getting the same price.
Yeah.
For using less chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's exactly what this soft.
It's actually smart. I mean, marketing.
If it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if
Well,
it's
from a
not good-
standpoint of people who
Yeah.
don't have
Haagen-Dazs used to be fantastic, and now Haagen-Dazs they've just continued to tweak the recipe more and more to where
when I was a kid.
I don't think it's. I know Haagen-Dazs used to be the
Grandma had
bomb, right?
Haagen-Dazs.
It used to be the pinnacle of ice cream.
Oh man.
Now you have it, and it's now I have it. I know that I'm an ice cream snob. I get it. But yeah, now I have it. I'm like, oh, but it's not the same. It's different, and I want it from yesteryear. And I've got a whole plan for the store and stuff, but nonetheless.
There was two things at Grandma's house that we used to look forward to as kids: butter, real butter.
Yeah.
So we never had real butter. And Haagen-Dazs ice cream.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, your grandma had the good stuff.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, thank you so much for being
Hey.
here. Yeah, and not only
Glad to
that,
be
but
here.
you've been an incredible asset for us. I mean, this show functioning as well as it does this morning is kind of it's kind of how you introduced. I mean, you've just been really essential in our products over the years.
Wow.
Start our first Shrine football game.
Yeah.
You were a part of that and helping
That's
get
great.
the tech part of that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
not,
you
not
are
only tech though, design too, like graphic design.
yeah,
a
amazing.
lot of things.
Yeah, and so that's like you've just been a godsend for us, and I appreciate your friendship a great deal. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's great to meet. No matter where you are on the planet, there's always people that.
And people might not know, but Sean has done a lot with the haunted house. I mean, you worked a lot with Jerry.
Sure.
Yeah, and over the years
The tech stuff, anyway.
the tech stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
helping. Yeah, she's the brains behind all of the
She
stuff.
totally is.
But
She takes all the credit for
but
that.
still,
That's good.
but you've jumped into all of that. And,
It's just behind the scenes, just anything that is to make something be one step above, so that people can really appreciate it, and I love that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
thank you. Thanks
That's
for being
very
here.
kind.
Yeah. All right, man. You want to get us out of
Let's
here?
do it. March 12th, on this day in 1755, the first steam engine in America is installed, and they used it to pump water from a mine. So 1755, they used the steam engine to get water out of a mine. 1894, Coca-Cola is sold in bottles for the first time in a candy store in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Back then, Coke had Coke in it.
Yeah.
Like Coke was really Coke. Like Coke. 1951 comic strip Dennis the Menace first appears in a British comic magazine, The Beano. I didn't know Dennis the Menace was a British comic.
I didn't
I thought it was American. 2012 The Hunger Games, directed by Francis Lawrence, starring Jennifer Lawrence, premieres in Los Angeles. I will admit I read those books and watched the movies, and they weren't half bad. I was kind of impressed with them, actually. 2020, the 2020 NCAA men's basketball tournament is canceled over concerns of COVID. It's the first time that March Madness wasn't held since 1939.
That's crazy.
The women's tournament was also canceled. Can you imagine if you were one of those guys? You know, one of the common things among guys that are going to get a vasectomy is I'm going to do it right during March Madness so I can be at home for a couple of days because they play basketball games all day long.
That's a thing?
It's 100% a thing. In the sports world, it's talked about all the time with males, especially males my age. Well, could you imagine if you scheduled it for them and then they canceled March Madness and you're just sitting there with nothing to watch, waiting to heal from your vasectomy? It would be horrible. It would be absolutely horrible. It's really a thing. I mean, it's very commonly talked about between males, you know, like I'll get my vasectomy during March Madness because they actually play games from like 9 all day long for the tournament for like 2 weeks straight.
I thought you were going to say when you know these athletes work so hard and then the game is canceled and they can't do it. It's all about them, and you're like, no, the dude with the
March Madness is my favorite time of year. I mean, it's the best. It's the best. Number 1 movie in America on this day in 1994: Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. And then the quote of the day comes from Vince Lombardi. Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. One more time. Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. Vince Lombardi.
All right. Good stuff.
Awesome. Thanks again to Sean Halliday.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Union County Commissioner Paul Anders.
Thursday.
He's going to be with us Thursday. So see you soon.